Hey guys, back in my office today and going to be going over some of the different things I've been involved with and give you guys a little bit of an update. Wanted to go over kind of some of the trends because today and really the last several days it has been a sea of red, and so I'm going to show that to you guys here. Just taking a look at CoinMarketCap. Like CoinMarketCap has been pretty much everything's kind of in the red today. Like just kind of moving down the list. Like it is the Skycoin is kind of interesting. I remember seeing that pop up on the radar. Bitcoin Private's been doing fairly well, but yeah, like just overall the market is just really kind of been tanking. The ones that are performing well, Skycoin, OX. This OX project is really interesting. It's really been climbing the charts. Actually, let's take a look at that because this one there's a on DApp Radar they have one that's kind of tied to this. I have to do a little more research on this, but let me see if I can find this. OX. Yeah, there we go. OX Bitcoin. So, but yeah, just taking a look at this this project, it's been spiking here. It looks like it's kind of gone through some different waves. So everything was really kind of up in that kind of early January timeframe, like the first 2 weeks of January. A lot of altcoins and were kind of spiking and peaking. There's really been kind of a market retraction. Volumes have kind of come down just overall. But this one seems to be coming up a little bit more. Let's see where it's been trading, but let's see here. Binance, Poloniex, Bittrex. So it's got some market saturation. It's really trading Binance pretty heavily. Like that's where most of the volume is with this particular project. But going back, kind of looking at these. Steam has been kind of, I guess it's been up and down, but Steam is an interesting one. It's always seems to be kind of a good one to get into in some of the bear markets. The size of the blockchain, the social media integration that it has is really a kind of a nice innovation that it has, and kind of has I don't know if I call it a monopoly, but it really is kind of like the premier social media cryptocurrency blockchain project. And so I think it's always going to kind of remain a little bit high, and that's always, going to be one that will even do well in these bearish markets. Hot still continuing to perform well. So Hot was one I got into at the beginning of this month. I've been doing pretty well on this one. Let's see here. Yeah, I think I got in like somewhere right here, but kind of before I had a little bit of a pump. Now it's kind of like stabilized. And I think maybe this is more due to the market just kind of retracting a little bit. But yeah, you can see most of the volume in IDEX and whatnot. So yeah, the markets just haven't been good. Trying to get my computer set up here. I've been having some issues. I got to get an IT person come in, and I'm doing I'm going to get more into trading. I wanted to kind of move out of maybe some of my positions. I've got a couple of projects that I wanted to kind of take a larger position in, and so one of those I wanted to talk about was Asama. I talked about this a little bit yesterday, but typically in bear markets, mining can be a really kind of a way to kind of hedge your bets a little bit, or kind of have a little bit of stability in a down market. This one, I invested $1,000, already made $108, in the last 2 weeks. With Asama, there's a few different things you kind of need to know if you want to get into the platform. I kind of mentioned the other day that I wouldn't necessarily recommend putting money into the internal wallet function that they have right now. I think they need to develop that. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just that it can be really confusing for people when you're initially getting invested. And part of that is just some of these Asian kind of cryptocurrency companies, they just do things a little bit differently. Like even with like the referral system, I still don't really fully understand a whole lot about this, but it's kind of has like this left branch and this right branch. And so like, I actually have had several people, like you can see, like there's a little bit of a members list. So people have gotten into this, but if you don't get in or buy a package or basically get invested within the 24-hour, I think it's like either 24 hours or 48 hours, your account essentially kind of goes into like an idle phase where it's not really active. And part of the reason they do that is because of this kind of binary tree that they do with their affiliate structure. And that's actually fairly common with a few of the different companies I've been looking into here in Asia. There's at least 4 that have the same exact structure like that. So it's but in terms of like the performance, it's been doing pretty well. Like, you know, on a $1,000 package, let me show you guys my account. On a $1,000 package, I mean, it's paying out roughly like $5 a day. So I'm looking to kind of bump this up. You can see like they have the different packages here. And this is, if you're going to get into this, I mean, the best thing to do is to sign up, set up an account, and then decide which package you want to, or what kind of level you want to get into. Like I want to get into this $5,000 one here. The interest rates are a little bit better. So, but you know, again, like 0.8% interest a day is, you know, it's not bad. And I have a buddy of mine that, you know, just recently, you know, got in at the $5,000 level, and, you know, he's made over $600 in the last few weeks. So it's performing fairly well, and I'm trying to find like projects that you can kind of get into where you can kind of let your crypto make money for you. Like I've been getting into recently a lot of these, you know, the farming games. I've been getting into the you know, kind of these dividend smart contracts, proof of weak hands being, you know, the major one and kind of the biggest innovator. A lot of people kind of still waiting on the FOMO 3D project to come out, but those ones, you know, by basically getting into those contracts, you know, you have some security that it's kind of set up like a savings account almost in a way. However, you know, the price may go up and down, but you make you know, you make dividend interest on the volatility in those particular projects, and they're decentralized. They're not really affiliated with a particular company. But I like those projects, at least the ones that I've been doing, you know, fairly well with, like the crypto idle, or these idle games. So the Ether Shrimp Farm, this is one that I'm kind of in. You know, the payouts are starting to go down, and that part of that is kind of this the hyperinflation that has been happening. But you're seeing a little bit more innovation, like they're trying to start getting into like advertising. So you can see here that they're starting to set that up. But this is the contract right here. So last it was, like I just refreshed this not too long ago. The balance in the contract seems to be kind of trending down. So a lot of these kind of farming games, you know, they just don't have any, it seems like all the ETH in the contract is starting to kind of get drained. So like these you know, like 4 million ants will get you, you know, 0.17 Ethereum. So they're not doing all that well. Like taking a look at this is probably like the second, you know, largest one that I've gotten into, but there's only 2 ETH in that contract. So it's just really nothing in those contracts. And a lot of the other ones that kind of came up, like there were clones that you were seeing on DApp Radar. I mean, there's seems to be like there's new ones popping up all the time. And some of these ones really can be, in my opinion, are I'm kind of looking at them as just kind of money grabs, you know. But just a lot of these, you can just copy the code and you can come into a lot of these different contracts, but there's like nothing in these contracts. The only one that really has any volume in the contract is this Ether Shrimp Farm game. But kind of moving up the list on DApp Radar, like these are all the kind of the decentralized exchanges that are, you know, at least holding a larger Ethereum balance. Proof of weak hands, even though it's been dropping quite a bit, it seems to have bottomed out a little bit. Like today was the first day, looking at kind of like, you know, my progress in history. This is the first day that I had basically a 0 payout where I did make over $10. So you can see here, you know, like it's only like $6. So made a little bit in CG Now and Gandhi, these two projects. But between those two, I mean, that's, you know, like 0.035 ETH. Like I've actually been, you know, getting more dividends in these the idle games. So I made like a quarter ETH, you know, in the idle games. But those ones you have to be a little bit more involved because of the hyperinflation, and that's kind of something like, you know, I'm kind of roughly tracking this stuff. Like I didn't really want to make a very, you know, detailed, you know, spreadsheet. This is just kind of more for my own tracking purposes. But like this, I think these were all like payouts. So you can see that like these have this is the price per 0.01 Ethereum. So this is really just, you know, hyperinflated like crazy. Like, you know, it's almost doubling now. So the payouts have just continuing to drop. Like you can see, like moving up the list, like earlier when I first got in, you know, they were much higher. So same can be said for the ETH Anthills and the Pepe farm. These two, like I just, you know, I think those, you know, I'm not making a whole lot, but I'm making some, you know, like if you're in there and you're just kind of like, really what I'm doing is just not doing a whole lot of reinvesting, at least right now with the contract, just kind of diving, just kind of pulling out what I can. But I'm in the profit on the ETH shrimp farm and the Anthills game. Pepe farm might take a little bit longer, and the fish farm was just pretty much like an overbotted money grab. I mean, there's not even an ETH in that contract anymore. So like I'm not even really messing around with that a whole lot anymore. There's just nothing there. So you might see that continue with those games. You're seeing some projects that are actually putting those on top of other ones. So like I was just taking a look at this one that was number 10 on DApp Radar, where it's basically, you can see here, this has a little bit more of a graphical. This is mooninc.io. So it's like a crypto idle game on top of, like, you know, these dividend, like a dividend smart contract. So they just kind of combine the two. I mean, there's 41 ETH in there. So, and they're coming out with a few other ones. So very kind of, I don't know what's the word I'm looking for. Cartoonish, I guess you could say. So some of those might appeal to certain people, like, you know, anime and like these cartoonish things tend to actually be like very popular in Asia. Is one thing I've noticed. Like they use a lot of that stuff, a lot more, guys and girls, just in normal conversations. I see that, you know, quite often. You know, people are kind of just, you know, they just love anime, like in Asia. I don't know how else to kind of explain it. It's kind of a weird thing, but you kind of get used to it when you're here. But it's very kind of like innocent and like childish. And so some of these I mean, these are all English, right? So like this particular one, like I don't see a whole lot of these contracts really branching off into like other foreign languages. And that was one of the big reasons why you know, I was interested in the Gandhi project. So you can see the Gandhi project is it's just been holding, you know, right around the, you know, 83 ETH or so. But you can see here, you know, they just recently got into Indonesian. So they got Hindi, Chinese, Korean, Indonesian. So these, I think that those projects are kind of the ones I'm looking for. Like, I don't know, I'm kind of staying away from a lot of, like, all of these different new ones that are coming out, if they're all really just catering to an English-speaking market. Like, I feel like that market is just kind of done at this point. Like, or not, maybe not done, but just, it doesn't have the same kind of excitement or initial appeal that really helps it kind of gain traction initially. So, you know, you know, just looking at the top 10, you know, on DApp Radar, you can see the exchanges. It's pretty much, you know, top 3 are exchanges. The shrimp farm holding a pretty high daily active user count. A few, like, you know, gambling sites, or at least that's this Ether Online one. CryptoKitties has been up there for a while. Not a whole lot in the contract. This one, sperm bank, again, another farming game with a highly daily active user account, and that might have something to do with perhaps multiple accounts or bots or that sort of thing. But there's only like 1.5 ETH in that contract. A little bit more in the snail farm, a few of these other ones, but it's just not a whole lot. This Revolution one, it's been a little bit interesting. I know a lot of people kind of been talking about it. Wanted to, let's see, I thought I had that up here. Yeah, here we go. I haven't gotten into this yet, but I've been watching it, and the contract balance, was like 180 the other day. It's come up a little bit. This one, I'm kind of staying away from some of these right now, kind of sitting on the sidelines. But I would say, like, if I were to get into one, that might be one I would be interested in, based on just kind of the contract balance, some of the initial interest that's kind of been behind it. So it looks appealing. The arbitraging is another one that let me pull that up here. I've been, a couple people have been mentioning it. This arbitraging website is kind of like a it's kind of like it has a high daily interest for getting involved in this, and so there's there might be some advantages to this. Like some of the people I've been watching like I think it was IL Matt, Kinetic Energy, and Adam Hull are probably the 3 top guys that are talking about this on YouTube. And so I've watched a few of their videos, and they're having some success with it. So I may be looking to get into that, maybe here in a little bit. I want to do some security measures. So as I mentioned, I lost my phone, and so that's kind of been a big hassle. And so I want to do a few. I've been kind of looking a little bit more into security and backing some things up. And part of that is like my MetaMask. Like I had some of my information like on that phone. So I mean, hopefully they just they probably just sold my phone to a store, and hopefully they kind of just wipe the phone clean, so there's nothing on there. But I did have some sensitive information on there that has me a little worried, and so that's why I'm kind of looking at setting up maybe like a secondary account or a few other accounts so that I can at least have a little bit of security with that. Just started raining real hard. It's the rainy season here. Did your first live video. All right, I'll have to check that out. But yeah, that's kind of it's kind of been the market, and kind of what's been going on. I don't know. I mean, days like this, it's kind of good to kind of like hang on. One of the things I did want to show is these Google Trends, and so you can get in here. I left a link in the description below. You can kind of check this out. This is kind of basically the search terms for like Bitcoin. You can do this for a few others, but like this is over the past 5 years. So you can see there was a huge ramp up in December. Let's take a look at the last year. Let's do past 12 months. So there was a huge interest in Bitcoin, basically starting kind of late November and kind of peaking, I would say, kind of late December. So there was like a month or so there when Bitcoin was hitting, $20,000. A lot of people are kind of getting interested in this. And, it's really kind of, died off. Like you're seeing right now that the interest or the search is not, really, the same. So if you're a believer in cryptocurrency, you're, kind of looking at this as a long-term play. I think that this is going to be probably one of the better times to get in these huge, red days and red markets. I'm, like I said, like I'm kind of waiting for the market to kind of recover a little bit before I start, maybe taking some of that and putting it into other projects. Like for instance, like the Asama one, I wanted to do, a larger package on that and kind of get a little bit more invested into these mining projects, and looking at a few others in Vietnam that look promising, or you know, around. I've got a meeting with a guy later today. I'm going to be looking at another mining project called Nexus that's out of Germany, I believe. So I'm going to see how that's been going for him. But I want to get into like 3 or 4 different kind of, you know, mining projects and kind of giving you guys my take on that and see, you know, I think having that as a little bit of a base, having, you know, say like 10-20% of your portfolio kind of, you know, dedicated to cryptocurrency mining is going to be a good way to look at kind of having some stability, and especially when you have red days like this, because you know, it doesn't, you know, the mining is not really as affected by the you know, decrease in prices that you're getting. I mean, you're mining, you know, cryptocurrency. You have like a particular share in a company, and you know, that hasn't really hit like a market per se. So you have that crypto to work with. So yeah, geez, it is. I got my laundry, and my laundry's getting tortured out here. But it is the wet season. It's pouring like crazy here. But I got all my laundry hanging up out there. We don't have dryers in Asia, or that's kind of not as common. Everyone hangs their clothes. When you put it outside, it's so hot and humid. You know, they dry just about as fast as put them in a dryer. So a couple of different things about living here in Asia. I'm getting kind of used to, but yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm still kind of researching, still looking into a lot of stuff. I think, you know, the things I've been, like I mentioned, I'm doing right now is a little bit more security based. Kind of getting things backed up, getting, you know, just preventing myself from having, you know, kind of a situation that just happened, you know, like I had. You know, I recommend for those of you that have your 2-factor authentication to try to get that like mirrored on another device, or to have that, you know, you want to print out your, like the QR codes and some of the things to back some of those up, because like if you have everything kind of tied in your phone, and like, you know, like it's raining right now, like say like I go out there and something happens, and you know, my phone drops in like a, you know, or gets water damaged where it's not working anymore. You know, that can be really bad. You know, like if you lose your 2FA, you lose everything. And I think that's something that a lot of people that are new to cryptocurrency don't quite understand. So the security element's really important. And I want to do a little bit more tutorials on some of the best ways to set that up once I, you know, get it set up for myself. I think this is kind of interesting. There was another one, just kind of looking over at the global markets. Like, you know, this was like earlier this month on the 6th, we had the market cap was right around 470 you know, billion, and you can see it's really kind of dropped. And just recently here, it's just really kind of tanked. Just looking at the last 7 days, like last 2 days or so, it's really kind of tanked. Volume's coming up a little bit, so, but got into Revolution 200, now it's 700. Yeah. I know a few different people have been messaging me. They've been doing pretty well on that. Lost yours last week, lost your 2FA. Yeah, it can really, you know, it can really just kind of dampen your mood, dampen your day. Like luckily I didn't have a whole lot on that phone, but man, there's so much stuff. Like I was in all these social media platforms, like here in Vietnam, and since losing because like not only did I lose my phone, but I lost my phone number, and I can't recover my phone number. And so like I lost access to that because they want to be able to, like, you know, text you to, you know, to verify you are who you are. And I didn't have that set up like that. So it's not the biggest deal in the world, because like I can set up new accounts and I can, I can build them back up. It's just going to take a long time. And it's just a huge hassle. So I'm kind of starting from scratch here and whatnot. So I lose much more Bitcoin. Please help me how to recover. How did you lose your Bitcoin? I don't know if I can help you recover your Bitcoin if you lost it. I think the best thing to do, you have to kind of set up your security from the beginning. Like you really have to set things up the right way, where you have like a way to recover it. So like I honestly, like for me, like I feel a little bit more safe keeping things in like an exchange with having a certain level of security, say a two-factor authentication. And then if you have that backed up, then like I feel a little bit more safe with that. So for instance, like I lost my phone. I had that tied into my my phone number here in Vietnam. So like I don't have access to my Binance account. I've got a decent amount of crypto in my Binance account, and the recovery was actually was a little bit something I wasn't expecting. So like when you're going to recover your account, they wanted like my TRX deposit address, which the only way I'm going to get that is if I can get into my account, which I can't do, right? So like I had to message the person that last sent me TRX and get that deposit tax ID address or transaction ID address to basically track down. It took me like an hour to figure all that stuff out, and then once I did that, like I had to upload like my passport, like photos and a bunch of stuff, and then I get an email say, hey, we'll get back to you in a week. So it's kind of one of those things. Like that's why like if you look I've been, all my videos, I've been having, a bunch of different exchanges on there. Like, I think it's really best to kind of get into a lot of different exchanges. So if you have something that goes wrong or something like that, you're not losing everything, or it's more minimal, or it's, like I'm locked out of my Binance account, but I can still get into all of the other exchanges that I'm in. So it's not, it hasn't impacted me financially as much in terms of like losing access to my crypto accounts. It's just a huge time drain. So like I can't do a lot of the research that I like doing and kind of looking into these different projects and doing some of the things I like to do, because I'm still trying to get everything back. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Was Exodus hacked? I'm not sure. I'm not as up on the news on that. If nothing else, you should send yourself a copy of your 2FA codes in an email so you can recover. Yeah. And probably not your main email either, because if your email gets hacked or something like that, and then, because that's happened to a few different people where, like Trevon, that was one of the ways that he was saying that he got hacked, is basically they got access to his email. And he had a lot of that info in his email. But yeah, I would say that's really good, because if you're emailing it to yourself, that's, that's a good way to back it up. I'd agree. So should have like several different emails. Like I've got like 10 or 15 different email accounts. Like I've got a bunch of email accounts I haven't logged into in years. I still got my way to get in, but spreading that out, I think is really, like just spreading everything out, I think is good. You just have to have a good backup system. So that's kind of the same thing, like having a backup phone, having at least 2 of everything, I think is a good way to look at doing some things. So hopefully the market recovers. Hopefully it's just real down. Like I was theorizing that the market was really going down 2 days ago, just because we kind of see that kind of midweek. Midweek, you see, people kind of get out of crypto in that time period, and people kind of come back in the weekends, but it just really tanked. when you see the markets tank, you tend to see like the Bitcoin dominance really go up, because a lot of people that are trying to get out, let's do a little 7-day here. A lot of people that are trying to get out of, like, say, the altcoins or just the market in general, typically you need to get into like Bitcoin or Ethereum to kind of get out of the cryptocurrency market. And so you'll see these, the Bitcoin dominance tend to kind of come up a little bit along with some of the other larger coins. But yeah, it's up at about 40%, whereas, you know, a week ago is at like 36%. Let's take a look at the last month. So it kind of peaked, I guess it's been holding fairly steady. You know, it's had a little bit of volatility, but it's really kind of been between 35 and 40%, at least with Bitcoin. But we're seeing this this altcoin number, which I've kind of said, this white line is all the others. This is all the other altcoins. What do you think about Moon Inc? You know, like I just was kind of showing that a little bit earlier on my stream. You know, personally, like I'm not getting in, but it's kind of like I think you were seeing that. Like, I'm not sure if like Etheropoly was set up the same way, but like, so Proof of Week Hands was kind of like the most popular, the most adopted Dividend smart contract. And then just recently, in last week, it's like the first one that came out of these idle farming games was the Ether Shrimp Farm game. And if we look at the contract, you can see like this came out on the 14th. This is the shrimp farm game. So you can see like it came out on the 14th. And on the 16th, we started seeing the first clones. The first clone was this Anthills game. And so I got in, like on the, I believe it was the 16th, I got into both of these, you know, but they're now kind of got to a point where like, let's see if we can take a look at the contracts in these have really just kind of dipped. Let me see, let me pull up the contract here. So this is the shrimp farm game. It kind of, the graph was a little bit, like we saw it like early, it had come up. I don't know why it's not. There we go. Oh, yeah. So we saw initially it had come up to like 60 ETH or so on the contract. It really kind of dipped down, and I think yeah, like this time frame I think was kind of right where I got in, and there was kind of another ramp up or another surge. It's really kind of come down. We saw it kind of bottom out. There was a little bit of a surge back up. I remember this when it came back up to 40, but now it's continuing to get drained. So it's, you know, getting close to dropping below 20. So the less ETH there is in that contract, the less there is for, you know, withdrawals or whatnot. And, you know, at a certain point, basically it doesn't make sense because like it's not even like the gas fees are like as high as the amount that you'd be pulling out. So, but like if I were to get into one, like the shrimp farm game was the original. So typically staying with the original is the best way to go. You know, the clones tend to not really have the same kind of adoption or community or whatnot. But, you know, I think we're going to see these idle games. We might see a new phenomenon, something similar to it. And I bet you like when the FOMO 3D project comes out with Proof of Week Hands, you're going to see a lot of clones and a lot of people trying to copy that. So, I don't know if they'll do something to try to protect their code. I don't know if you really can because it's all pretty much open source. But the ability to take your coins and stake them in different aspects, like on that platform, we haven't really seen that before, and that's kind of the innovation it looks like that FOMO 3D is going to come out with. So you know, I'm holding to basically see what happens. Like I've lost quite a bit in the balance that I've had. So like I'm making a little bit in dividend returns, but there just hasn't been, just really hasn't been any buys. Really hasn't been anyone buying into that project. I'll show that to you here. I think once the FOMO 3D project comes out, though, I bet there's going to be a massive buy into the project, because the trend that we've been seeing is it's just been dipping and dipping and dipping. Huge sell off here just the other day. Probably one of the whales got out. Probably, maybe again, this is probably another one here if we zoom out a little bit. This has been the trend of this balance, the ETH contract and this balance, and so unfortunately, like, you know, that's going to impact the amount that you have in there. But the way it's been explained is that, you know, it doesn't really matter with the ETH balance. If you're planning on holding, you just need to get people that want to buy into the project, and that's going to increase the volume, and that's going to you know, in turn increase dividend earnings project, and that's kind of the point of the FOMO 3D project from the way I'm understanding it. So I think that's it for today. I'm going to be in the office here working on some stuff, and I'll come up for you if you guys have any questions or things you want me to look. Comment section below. Other than that, I'll catch you guys on the next one.